All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Press Play. In today's segment of Throwback Thursday, we're going to be talking about Throwback Tunes.
Crunchy hizo así, yo hice así.
I was like this.
Gang signs.
Shout out to my boy. You know who you are.
No, chico.
Cortado.
Sí, lo tiró al medio.
Hey, you know who it is. Last living 349.
Ay, Dios. Bueno, se la voy a pasar a Jairo que tiene las preguntas ahí de...
I do. So I guess we'll start it off right away.
Yeah, we're going with cartoon, brother.
What cartoon you remember growing up as a kid? What's the
DuckTales.
first one you remember?
DuckTales. You can't, that song is like, it's the best. That life is like a hurricane. Duckburg. You can't go against that. Come on.
Oh, man.
Definitely a classic.
¿Tú sabes qué estaba pensando los otros días cuando estábamos hablando de esto? Que no mencionamos esos muñequitos. Mighty Ducks.
That's another one. That's the same family. You know that, right?
Classic.
That is the same family. Like legit from DuckTales, you get the Mighty Ducks and all that. That's the all same lineage.
Pero el mío fue Gargoyles. As I was thinking more and more about it, it was the cartoons that I watched the most.
Gargoyles was definitely
fire, bro.
To me, it was one of my favorites as well. I'm not even gonna lie.
What's his face's voice? That's iconic. He does video games to this day. He did God of War dude, the first black guy. The voice actor from God of War.
Oh, ajá, sí, yo sé
That's the same guy from Gargoyles.
Sí.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the first, because there's two of them. Mm-hmm. So the first one is the same guy from Gargoyles.
Okay. What's your fun?
Yo digo que es complicado porque yo en aquel entonces vi muchas series que eran animes que yo ni sabía que era anime en ese momento. O sea, yo, por ejemplo, cuando ustedes vieron Dragon Ball la primera vez, ustedes no se imaginaron que Dragon Ball era anime. Ustedes decían como eran muñequitos ya.
Yeah, I didn't treat it that way.
That's true.
Pero yo creo que de las primeras series que yo vi, incluyendo esas que parecían anime, era, por ejemplo, la que te dije, Mazinger Z, porque le gustaba mucho a mi papá. ¿Tú viste esa?
Hell
I
yeah!
don't even know what that is.
What,
you don't know what
la
Mazinger
cámara
is?
haciendo así.
El que te dije que era como Gundam.
Oh, sí.
Yeah, that's important. Listen, my dad he would call it Japanation or something like that.
Sí.
And I was like, and it was mad, and I was like, I would sit there and it would be in Spanish, and I'll be like stuck.
O sea, para la época era muy bueno, era bueno. Pero que no sean así tipo anime, yo diría que...
Sale la mano tuya.
Ah, perdón. Que
That's Super Z, man.
yo creo que
Dad picked
no sé cómo se decía en inglés, pero en español eran los chicos del barrio que tenían como un árbol gigante, que eran como espías y eran todos niños. Y no, si crecían se les olvidaba todo.
We need somebody to Google that. We need a picture of that.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
Yeah, I'm gonna add that in because I never.
Ya
Ahora
se
viene
lo
and I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, I remember
Yeah,
that, but I didn't
that's the
watch
thing.
it.
So no, I was actually gonna bring that up because this is something.
Creo que se llama algo así como Kids Next Door.
Oh, Kids Next Door, yeah.
Oh,
I know exactly
Kids
what that
Next
is.
Door. I
didn't
don't remember
So
that.
I never
that
seen
is
it.
honestly, that's a good thing that you just brought up.
That they lived in the tree.
Yeah,
In
the
the tree,
treehouse.
yeah.
That is a legit cool thing that you brought
Es
up.
que tú
that-
eres muy viejo, pa.
I'm older than him.
Nah, so I'm not
Que
gonna
No tenían nombre, tenían números.
Yeah, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Ah, todavía no sé de qué estás hablando.
Nah, but honestly, yeah, Kids Next Door. I love that show.
It looks.
That show has a very sad
It looks
ending.
familiar, but I'll be
muy
honest with you.
bueno.
I
No, when
don't-
you see
I
the
don't-
ending,
I never watched it.
that ending was not for kids. Like when they
Yeah, I
went to the
never watched it,
ending,
brother.
because about that show, he had cancer. And
Oh, sí, sí.
Yeah, so when number 1 died, it was because he died of cancer. That's why he was bald and everything like that.
Sí, sí.
And then the whole thing is about basically giving a kid with cancer, the whole thing. It's crazy. Like we don't realize too, thinking about throwback cartoons, a lot of the plots were not for us as kids. It was for the adults, especially
Sí,
young
que
kids now.
había muchas series que tenían trasfondos muy oscuros que uno en ese momento uno veía era el muñequito, lo que sea. Por ejemplo, la del perrito este que era como rosado, que siempre le tenía miedo a todo.
Oh,
Ese
yeah.
tenía vainas muy bizarras.
Courage the
Yeah,
Cowardly
ese,
Dog.
Yeah.
Ese tenía vainas muy bizarras que tú en el momento ni procesabas ni entendías.
It was weird.
Y ya ahorita la ves y como que mierda.
So, question, because this is actually really good that we have it, because we're all Hispanic, but we all have different little backups and how we grew up. So even for him, the cartoon Kids Next Door and everything, it's different from us. So like, segueing off of that, what's a cartoon that we all know we grew up that would be different for him because when
So
we
I
were
want to answer the question before we
yeah.
continue to go on to that one, right?
Se aplicó la
La misma que las. Me quieren. Hello, estoy muteado, eh.
Sorry.
Is this bad boy?
You got me excited. I'm sorry.
Hello. This bad boy on?
No, ¿estás seguro que esta vez no lo pasara?
No. Fuck all that. Not twice.
Estos cabrones no me van a dejar hablar.
No, not this time.
Estaba que separado ahí.
I got excited.
Yeah. No.
You're talking
I cut this shit out.
I apologize for my excitement because it's something like I
To
get excited
me,
about.
even though they remade it now, but I used to watch X-Men religiously. The old school
Yes,
X-Men.
sir.
I mean, every Saturday I was hooked in the morning. That was my go-to morning show, no matter what. That was
Que le sacaron un remake hace poco.
el remake.
Muy bueno.
97, right?
Yep, 97.
X-Men 97.
Fire.
That's good.
The crazy part, you just brought up Saturday morning cartoons, and my brain just went like this, like that rush of every. Oh man, we better. Oof, I'm gonna stay quiet because you just like blew my mind, and my brain just went.
So I'm not gonna lie. Crunchy actually told us his answer for this next question, right? What's a theme song that you can't get out your head? Like it's
Mierda.
that you can't get out your head. That's from one of those cartoons, kinda to Crunchy. Go ahead
I'm
and
35 years old, and
throw
I
your
remember
DuckTales.
all the damn words for the DuckTales song. Think about that. Think about that. That is crazy because I can't remember what I ate last week sometimes. Or like you tell me, yeah, you were there. I'm like, but you hit that DuckTales, you just start dun, 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 dun. But to his example of that, I also believe the older theme songs, they put effort into it. Like
True.
Darkwing Duck, I bet you if I start singing that, you hear it. The things, gargoyles, you can hear those. They don't do that nowadays.
Mano, even the Power Rangers, when Angel would sit there with the flute,
Eso era bueno.
eso para mí era icónico, loco. Yo cuando chiquito yo me sabía ese tono, brother.
Yeah,
I used to love that, bro.
Había muchas series. Yo vi Power Rangers, vi Arnold, todo eso, o sea, todo lo que iba saliendo. Es que la mayoría eran muy buenas. Yo creo que no hubo una serie en ese momento que yo te dijera, no me llama tanto la atención.
Heck, we went to the
That's true though. I agree with him.
Las de ahorita es como que.
I don't think there was a show that I was like, man, fuck this.
No,
Brother,
no,
hasta
no.
the Magic School Bus, que eso lo daban en la escuela.
You see, so you can't forget those.
You were stuck in somebody's ass and you was like, this shit is,
This
You were
friend.
like, this shit is fucking up in someone's colon over here.
But
Oh,
the theme
Chico.
songs are crazy because even last year when we all went to the con together, you guys were there. I was singing and dancing. We're doing the Pokemon, so I'm in there like, yeah, we're just screaming.
So to his point, everybody knows the Pokemon song. We all can probably recite the lyrics.
And I don't even like Pokemon.
I remember Power Rangers was fire. X-Men I'm sorry.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
It is,
that,
yeah.
that beat.
Sí.
Everybody knows. DuckTales, like you
DuckTales,
said,
you know.
is iconic. I remember the Rescue Rangers, which was Chip and Dale's. Chip and Dale's.
Rescue
No me
Ranger.
acuerdo.
We're gonna put that on.
So,
We'll put that up
sí.
on
The
there.
fun fact about Rescue Rangers, if you ever look at how they're dressed, they're actually dressed like another iconic 80s show. The same thing with Tom Selleck and everybody. They have the same thing. Until you're older, you realize you're like, wait a minute. It's like, it's Magnum PI. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
Yo no había nacido.
Inspector Gadget, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Inspector Gadget ahora, bro.
No, era muy bueno. A mí me gustó hasta la película.
Gadget.
A mí me gustó hasta la película.
Sí, mano.
so going off of that, though, I personally think it's a hidden art that we don't have no more. And damn, we're aging ourselves. And I'm not even that old, but we talk about the 80s flow and early 90s. They put that time and effort. It's like, you're into music. They hooked us. They put that hook in that song and they had you like this.
No es igual.
Y
Ya no es
te
igual,
puedo
mano.
asegurar que ni siquiera gastaban tanto en aquel momento como se gasta ahorita y se veía que le ponían empeño a la
Yo pienso que sí. Yo
la
pienso que quizá
las
gastaban más
animaciones,
porque
la historia, de todo en general era muy bueno.
studio time back then was so much more expensive. It's not like now where you can give this to a teen and he can do that in his house. Where back then they had to take that crew into a professional studio, and a lot of times those were one takes. So, yeah, I think it was more expensive back then. So, but that would explain why the quality was so much better because it was pure talent. You know.
So, to your point, it was more of like actual bands or orchestras going into the studio and recording these versus now theme songs, even though it's an iconic theme song, you know that this wasn't done in a studio. Everybody knows Who Lives in a Pineapple Under the Sea. But let's be honest, nobody recorded that shit in a studio with actual people and it was back then it was recorded like if it was a song that was gonna come out in the radio. Hey, we're gonna record this. Yo, your auto-tune sonó horrible. We're gonna retake that.
Ni había auto-tune para ese
No,
tiempo.
y te digo, hay un par de series de ahora que yo te puedo decir, ok, son buenas, por decirlo así, pero aún así no las veo porque no sé si es que ya no me interesa ese tipo de cosas o es que de verdad no es lo mismo con lo que yo crecí.
I also believe
Because I found myself watching X-Men 97 like I was 12 again.
because the art, I think it's because
Exacto,
art,
pero esa era vieja. Pero tú ves una de las de ahora, tipo Hora de Aventura y estas cosas nuevas que tú dices, como, pero tienen un fandom que
No para salirme del tema.
Hora de Aventura.
Sí, ahorita te voy.
Oh, Adventure Time.
Bro,
Hold on, give me
Still had me buffering for a second.
I know that one.
I'm like,
I was thinking about Romeo Santo for a minute.
I'm like, Time of Adventure or Romeo Santo?
No, but
What
it's
he
true.
came out?
But that goes back to like we were saying earlier. The even though it's weird, like I'll say it, I'm super Americanized. So like for us, it's like it took us a second. We're like, huh? Oh yeah, I seen that. Yeah, we're good.
Yo te digo algo que no mencionamos. Rocket Power para mí fue uno que me encantaba.
But
bro.
that's
Se tiraba los tubos.
Claro que esos tipos se estaban drogados.
Sí, definitivamente. El tío. Haciendo smoothies, papi. Ese se fumaba un voto antes de empezar el episodio.
They were blasted 24/7.
One we didn't talk about too was Ninja Turtles.
Oh my god.
The only reason I remember because your back wall right there showed me the.
But that goes again. Those are iconic things that going back to just the introduction. Like, think about they probably had, and we probably looked this up. But what top producers and top artists that we know, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I didn't know he did that. And that's exactly what the caliber they had back in the day because you go to old school songs that you would have no idea. Like,
No, y hasta las películas, si tú ves Tarzán, que sale la canción de... ¿Cómo se llama este tipo?
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins, yeah.
That song is iconic, bro.
He has two of them in there.
I'm trying to remember which one where he's sitting there. I wanna know. I wanna know about the stranger. Esa canción, bro.
Yeah.
I remember going to the movies to see
And
that.
thinking about there's cartoons that going back to Ohio State we watch on Saturday morning that like I don't remember you'll probably remember this. We all remember Bobby's World.
Bobby's World, I remember.
You see what I'm saying?
Mundo
Like,
Bobby.
you see
No sé cuál es.
it's
Bobby's World?
Sí, bro.
bro.
That's an old.
Bueno, en Puerto Rico hasta tenemos un dicho cuando uno está perdido y dice, se anda en el mundo de Bobby.
Yep. Again, but that's the cultural difference. That's a perfect example right there. Like that over here we had the Fox 35, whatever your local it was.
Yeah.
And that will be the cultural difference because you'll probably, like we said, you'll say, oh yeah, I seen that one.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was talking to my homeboy about what we were going to talk about, whatever, and he was bringing up cartoons that in reality weren't meant for us.
Oh,
And like Beavis and Butthead should never been for cartoons.
King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. Not only King of the Hill,
was
but
a-
Yo creo que precisamente por
No,
eso
King of the
era
Hill
tan
was
buena.
bad too, though.
Ren and Stimpy.
that was bad.
was
Buenísimo.
buenísima, but it was crazy for a little kid. Now that I remember, like the stuff,
The iconic scene with the saw, and he had the saw, and, he was like this, and you're like, yeah, and you're like,
the real monsters.
oh,
Remember real monsters
that's
that
a
the
classic.
dude was carrying his eyeballs.
Obelina.
With the armpit hair.
That's my nigga Crumb.
Crumb. Exactly. But thinking back, I was like, man, a lot of these motherfuckers wasn't for kids, but we loved that shit growing up.
Off of
It didn't
that
matter
show-
what it was.
So going off of that show, that is funny that we think about it now because we did not think about it when we were kids. One of the main characters, like their teacher, technically, we would call it now woke. He was a cross-dresser because it was supposed to be a male, and he was
Era un
walking around.
trapete.
Yeah, he was walking around in pink pumps We didn't think about it at all when we were kids. We're like, oh, okay, but now that would be a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that show would have been canceled because he's a real monster, you know
Eso,
what I mean?
eso es lo que yo digo, por ejemplo.
That's the little subliminal stuff.
Eso es lo que en ese entonces tú tenías este tipo de cosas y tú decías como que, bueno, normal.
Yeah.
Normal, yeah.
Ahorita te lo quieren forzar y es como que te lo hacen demasiado evidente y no sé.
They
por
want to
qué
jam it
carajo.
down your throat. Figuratively and literally.
Yeah, because even the female monster on there, the main was, if you think about it now as adults, they would attack that show so much because it would be body dysmorphia because she's skinny. She had super huge lips, like the monster part and everything like that. With the wokeness, if you want to, they would tear that show up for us as kids. We're laughing like,
Yeah, it was
that's-
hilarious.
Yeah, he stinks. This, look at her big lips. He has high heels on. We didn't think nothing of that, but now that a show like that wouldn't fly, and that was such a
Yeah, it would have been canceled immediately. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is only a topic where we're talking about shows and we're not going into like the movies because I'm gonna be honest. Disney ruled the cartoon world
Yes.
in reference to movies back
Yeah.
then. Still to this day, probably they still run the show. But when we talk about shows and we talk about things like that, I want to say that the ones that we're speaking about, I can still remember to this day. If I close my eyes, I remember as a kid sitting in front of the TV and watching the, like back-to-back shows. Like, I know it sounds bad parenting by my mom, but she cool.
Listen, shout out to our parents because I did the same thing. I still fall back on it. It was a different time. It was the classic. I know we sound like old people, but it was get home before the street lights turn on. Wake up in the morning before your parents are up eating cereal or something. I'm cleaning the house. Déjame quieto. Go watch TV like this.
Talk about cereal. What cereal you remember eating when you was
Listen,
growing up?
I was poor. King Vitamin.
King
Vitamin. That was my
No,
shit.
Chico, you had it rough, dog.
King Vitamin. I love that. She put sugar on it. I'm just eating it. Oh.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna show that I was poor in this thing. But to me, Kaboom, I remember Kaboom was fire as fuck. You remember it had like it was a clown in
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Diablo, we came from the same struggle.
I'll be honest with you. My mama had 6 kids, and them food stamps was on Smash Players. So every first of the month, we had every cereal you could think of. But Captain Crunch was the biggest one for me. Like Captain Crunch, and hell, even Frosted Flakes.
He had
Those
names. We didn't have Frosted Flakes. We had that.
we had
Tiger.
We were
So
we
I
were
had
hybrid.
cornflakes.
There you go. Cornflakes con
Con azúcar,
azúcar.
with
That was
Now,
it.
don't get me wrong. We didn't have our moments in life where we had to do exactly that. Que tú le echas medio pote de azúcar ahí, la leche del después que era más dulce, cabrón.
So I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Everybody remembers that fucking rooster on that cornflakes box.
O el
That-
tigre.
That if you ate without the sugar, that shit was like a cardboard.
I mean, you would read the ingredients and it would say corn, nothing else.
No flakes, of course.
Dehydrated corn.
What about you? What do you remember?
Eso, con flake, pero es que ustedes están aquí. No, yo comía piedra y yo, verga, yo comía con flake. Yo me sentía hasta mal.
¿Tú nunca comiste Kaboom? Te voy a enseñar Kaboom.
Yo estaba aquí
This
como
is the
que.
American poverty.
I'm gonna show you.
He said, I came over here for this shit.
I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, to this day, that cereal's fire.
No, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It still hasn't looked that way. Pobre papi.
I'm gonna show you mine.
Yo como que, verga, yo comía con flake. ¿no?
Sí, yo lo he visto.
It was like Fruit Loops, pero before Fruit Loops.
Sí.
You see what I'm saying? Pero era como cara de payaso.
Yeah.
King Vitamin. That's what
I remember those too. That was the
King
like the.
Vitamin.
No, I remember that.
That's like the Captain Crunch.
Yeah,
of
that's
the
it's
chicken,
good, though.
The poor people.
It's good. Otro que comíamos mucho era, bueno, en español se le dice trigo. What is that called, bro? Hacen batida de eso también.
Google
I
it.
never had
Google
that. It's like these little, they look like little beads. Like
Beads?
little rice, not rice beads, but
Wait! Are you talking about honeycomb?
no son honeycomb.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Another one that we all ate, and I'm gonna be honest with you. This is why it came out with a different brand, but we all ate Cheerios, right?
Yeah.
And we put the sugar on it, where they came out with Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, they were like, nah, y'all, I'm gonna make
It was
one
like,
up.
they're onto something.
They said, wait a minute, these
¿Sabes
poor
qué?
people know what they're doing.
En Venezuela no se veía de eso. En Venezuela se veía el normal, el cornflakes y copias de ese mismo, ¿me entiendes? Pero no tenías como que tanta variedad de
Damn, so
tipos
all
de
you had was
cereales.
just cornflakes?
Y copias del mismo.
Jeez,
Entonces era, por ejemplo, el
Great
cornflake
value
normal, tú tenías el...
had to be great.
Sí.
It was already bad. Regular cornflakes was bad. I can only imagine a great value version of cornflakes.
No, pero por ejemplo, tenías cornflakes, tenías el otro, el del tigre, que eran con azúcar, tenías Fruit Loops,
Azucarita, ¿verdad?
ajá, la azucarita.
Spanish.
Tenías Fruit Loops y ese tipo de cosas, y tenías las copias de esos mismos, ¿me entiendes? Como que la versión de Walmart. Eso,
La bolsa.
ajá, sí, sí.
That bag hits.
We used to rather buy that just because it was more bang for your buck. I mean, you had that una bolsa que tenía for the cost of a box.
Sí, pero
you
se
had
notaba la
7
diferencia. O
boxes
sea,
in
los
there.
cornflakes eran colores azul, rojo, ¿me entiendes? Aquello era como que si lo hubiese dejado el sol 3 semanas.
Well, not only that, you could tell cuando tú lo ponías en la leche. You ate one bite and everything got soggy right away. Instantly soggy. You're like, chacho, esto no lo comen.
Esta es la pregunta del millón. ¿Qué va primero? ¿La leche o el cereal?
Cereal, and then
Okay.
milk. Anybody that does
Does it opposite? Just no le gusta leche, no joda.
Si alguien decía leche, hasta aquí llegaba el
I've
podcast.
seen that bowl they make now that it's 2 compartments, one for the milk, one for the cereal, and then like what you do is you do it and you just.
Sí.
I was like, I needed that when I was a kid.
No, papi, eso para mí es que somebody was like, well, ya que todo el mundo está sacando ideas, vamos a ver si le saco provecho a esto.
Ustedes no bueno, productoras supongo que se llamaban en ese momento, pero de las productoras de muñequitos en ese momento no se acuerdan de ninguna.
¿De qué?
De las productoras de muñequitos, por ejemplo, Hanna-Barbera era la que sacaba
6 Minutes.
Scooby-Doo
Yes.
y era la que
That's
sacaba
another one we didn't talk about.
That's what I'm
Scooby-Doo
saying.
was-
It's.
To me, I used to love Scooby-Doo growing up.
sí.
I feel this video is gonna get a part 3, 4, 5, and 6 because the way that there's so many. What's hitting us right now is when the nostalgia hits. Like I can talk another hour just
you
on
go.
what he was talking about earlier. Messenger, brother. That's a whole segue into that. Scooby-Doo, bro. Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo. That's all from
Scrappy-Doo,
that's
yeah.
all from that. So it's
Not
like,
only that, I remember the theme song too. Scooby-Doo.
Where are you?
Everybody
my
remembers
thing is
that
this
shit.
though. What was Fred really doing?
He was trying to smash everybody that was in that show.
Hasta Scooby-Doo,
Shaggy.
hasta Scooby-Doo se lo iba a meter si se prestaba.
Scooby and Shaggy were blasted.
Ustedes
24/7.
llegaron a ver, bueno, y Shaggy también estaba
yeah.
siempre.
Sí, 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 sí.
Para mí,
Sí. Ustedes llegaron a ver, no sé cómo se llamaba en inglés, pero en español era La Carrera de los Autos Locos, que era como una carrera tipo...
Speed Racer?
No,
Uh-huh.
Speed Racer, we didn't talk about that. That was fire.
Que había un perro que se reía como que...
Yeah. I know exactly. That's Speed Buggy.
Oh, yeah, I know
That's
exactly
another
what
one,
he's
right?
talking about. Yeah.
¿Cómo se llamaba el perro?
¿Cómo se ríe?
Damn, I don't remember qué hacía.
Yeah.
Ajá,
But
ese.
that's
Yeah, I
another
remember.
one. And then they did a crossover episode with Scooby-Doo because that's when
Es que
Shaggy
si
became
no estoy mal, ellos
a
son de la
werewolf.
misma
Yeah,
productora.
it's the same thing. Yeah, Shaggy became a werewolf because he got bit by something, and then he had to drive the carrito, and then that guy came out too, and it was like a Cannonball Run because it was going off of that movie in the '80s, Cannonball Run, and they did it. So much great stuff. Like what happened to cartoons?
I mean, cartoons were back then to now is way different.
Yeah,
so
Childish
I
sucks,
agree
dude.
with him where that show Adventure Time, I don't know if y'all ever tried to watch it. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? The regular show, another one where I was like, what is whose kid is watching this fucking serial killer shit? Like,
No, está de pinga.
no.
Yo te digo, algo también que no mencionamos was Thundercats. Thundercats, bro.
He-Man.
Yo me la vivía cuando él
But
miraba,
that's- would you
cuando él
call that-
miraba el ojo de la espada así, brother.
So
y
now-
se veía esa nah,
Now that you
chico.
bring those up, is that super throwback? Because that's talking about that's '80s. Because
That's 80s, yeah.
and
But
it's
I enjoyed
90s.
it.
Eso es lo que yo estaba comentando con él, que había que, o sea, podíamos hacer también una comparación de las caricaturas que nosotros vimos y las que venían antes de nuestra generación, ¿me entiendes? Por ejemplo, para mí Messengers era before
Yeah, of course,
¿Me entiendes? Porque eso lo veía mi papá.
My dad watched it
Mi
too.
papá nada más veía Dragon Ball, Mazinger Z y no sé, quizás
That put
algún
me
otro.
on from
Y
there.
Thundercats. o
My
algo
dad
así.
showed me all that,
fine.
and then it even transitioned me into would be anime. I used to watch Ronin Warriors, and now another one that it was like they would wear suits of armor, and then it was the same thing, and I transitioned me over, and that was like old school anime and Gundam too.
Tú llegaste a ver
I
Zoids.
never liked Gundam.
Of course.
Eso era buenísimo.
Oh my God.
What?
Zoids, Liger Zero, like all that stuff.
You know one that I was talking to my homeboy that I remembered? Earthworm Jim
Oh.
and The Tick. You remember
Yes.
those shows?
Yes.
Earthworm Jim.
No,
Que era un gusano. Que
Y después puso
he
un
had
suit.
like a gun, like he was.
And they made a video game out of it too.
They made a video
On
game.
Sega
out of it.
Genesis.
It sounds
suena.
familiar.
I'll show you guys.
No,
after
he
the-
put on a
the
suit
part.
and he was like this, Jack afterwards,
Jack.
but he was a little more.
And he was a gusano that came out the suit, the top of the suit.
Ajá, ya
y
sé cuál
disparaba.
es. Ya
Y
sé cuál es.
después,
Ya me
I
acordé del juego
think
también.
in his world, I might be mistaken, but even that other game on Sega, Toe Jam and Earl, that they came from all that, it was like the same world and everything. I believe back in the day we had more transitionals or they worked more together because I don't know if it was like a production thing, but they crossed everything. It'll be like here and then here and then.
I'm about to hit all
Yo
the
creo que no habían tantas restricciones en cuestiones de derechos
could've
y ese
been
tipo
that,
de cosas.
I'm
O
about to hit all y'all with a retro. Pinky and the Brain.
porque el meta.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
Pinky and the Brain was
Fire
fire,
the
bro.
brain and you could be
No, the crazy part about Pinky in the Brain, and then it's like
Animaniacs.
Yo quiero acotar
that
algo que
originally came
estamos
with
claros que el Pinky del grupo es Fede, ¿verdad?
Sí. Definitivamente.
If we had to describe Feather, it's definitely Pinky.
From now on.
Creo que había otro. Creo que había otro ratoncito también que era peor que Pinky.
Yeah.
Ese es Fede.
But technically, in
Es
that
como
group,
Cleto.
no, the funny part about that group is Pinky was actually a smart one. If you think about it, because
I'm not sure about that
No,
one,
no.
Coach.
If you look at the plot of the show,
No,
every
he would
single time-
he would unintentionally come up
Sí.
with good ideas.
Sí, sí.
No. But they proved in the episode because Brain like always trying to take over the world, and it would always be Pinky that would save the Brain indirectly, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, like who's really the smart one here?
Well, the crazy thing is, to his point, the reason I brought them up was because you were saying the collaboration. They came out of Animaniacs.
Yeah, and the
Their
WB.
original was a little skit of Animaniacs where it brought them their own show.
So pretty much the biggest thing to bring everything back into perspective when it comes to the WB Looney Tunes, it's all the same world. It's crazy to think about it because we were talking about Bugs Bunny and everything like that. They did such a good job that it's like, think of Bugs and Daffy and everybody as like the grandfather, and they just like scattered everywhere. And that we don't have no more. Think about cartoons. Like, who's SpongeBob's grandfather? Nobody. SpongeBob. Like, we have the Patrick Star show. I don't know if y'all seen that. Patrick has his own show now.
No, I
It's
didn't.
hilarious. Like, out of spoiler alert, Patrick didn't live under a rock. It was a sea turtle sleeping. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Saben que los Looney Tunes también tenían o sea, tenían como que su show en conjunto y también tenían sus propias historias aparte. Estaba, por ejemplo, el demonio de Tasmania contra,
Tasmanian Devil, yeah.
¿cómo se llamaba el pájaro azul? En español era el correcamino, no sé cómo se
Yeah,
llama.
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner.
Ajá.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Roadrunner too in my head.
Bueno, pero a mí la que más me gustaba era la del Pato Lucas.
Oh.
Que era como... Siempre tenía, o era mago o era...
Pato Luke.
Somebody hit that SAP button really quick.
Pato Luke. Is that Daffy Duck?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Daffy
that's
Duck.
Daffy Duck, yeah.
But
Bueno, ese. Pero él
Wait,
tenía-
let me ask you a question real quick before we continue. ¿De dónde sale Lucas de Daffy?
That's where I was
sé.
a little confused, but
No sé.
Estas traducciones vienen de España.
Yeah,
O sea,
that- yeah,
probablemente.
Definitivamente que sí.
But I truly do love that though because it was like mind blowing when I found out watching Sesame Street as a kid. Big Bird is in yellow everywhere, and then you find out they use his cousins in other countries, and you get a blue Big Bird, a green Big Bird, one from Brazil. You're like, and then you actually can find it. That's a whole big thing.
Am I the only one who ever noticed that in Sesame Street, what's his name is on Smack?
Which one?
The one in the trash, what's his name?
Austin Grouch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to be on Smack, bro. Just the way he talk, se habla como si tuviese vena. Mantequillado, cabrón.
Si supieras que o sea, sí lo llegué a ver, pero no me gustaba tanto.
No, a mí tampoco.
so I wasn't a
Lo vi en
fan
la
of Sesame
escuela.
Street.
Era como Barney. Me parecía medio...
Barney, yo creo que...
You don't love me, I don't love you.
No,
I
para
love
mí Barney era un pedófilo. In my mind, that's how I always seen Barney. I was like, this guy's weird. Why you always hugging on these kids, bro?
Porque siempre está abrazando a los niños.
That's what I'm saying.
Happy. I know the damn Barney
It's
song.
Michael Jackson on the
So, so now this is something that it just hit me, which makes so much sense. Who had cable growing up?
We stole cable growing up.
I was gonna say I had that
Me
chip.
too, but realistically, the reason why certain cartoons resonate with certain people, and you can ask anybody, if you didn't have cable, you got your channel 2, 4, 6 for free, and PBS was one of those. And you got Barney, Arthur,
Magic School Bus.
Magic School Bus would pop up on there. You would get
Bueno,
I used to like Arthur.
Yo creo que esa fue una de las razones por las
Arthur
que,
wasn't bad.
por ejemplo, a mi papá le gustaba mucho Mazinger Z porque era uno de los
free ones.
shows que pasaban en los canales gratis.
Yep.
Y pasaban El Chavo, que yo creo que todo el mundo vio El
I
Chavo.
used to watch that before going to school, bro.
Yeah.
Ajá. Mi papá no fallaba y yo tampoco. Mazinger Z, Power Rangers y
Chespirito.
Chespirito y algo más.
So the only reason I didn't bring up Power Rangers because it wasn't a cartoons, but we
They
all
did have a
know-
cartoon version of it.
Yeah,
though.
but no, he's
we
talking
all
about live
know
action.
Sí, 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 sí. Yeah, that's the live
In
action.
fact, a lot of people don't know this, and it might
I
ruin your
know.
childhood, so I
I know.
apologize. We stole that show from Japan. We did not record
Seriously?
anything. It was legit. Like if you look,
It makes
Yellow
sense. I
Ranger-
mean, if you look, it was.
no, it was
No, you don't understand
stolen.
what they
Stolen.
like. In Japan, that's a series.
Yeah.
No, pero que yo digo que lo que está diciendo tiene sentido because if you look at the way they would film their movies in Japan that had to do with like big monsters, like Godzilla.
It's even worse.
Power Rangers was the exact same production, bro. Like
No, but
the
it's
way
worse.
that looked, it looked like somebody did that on a table.
No, but it's even worse to the point that here the Yellow Ranger was a female. Trini, we loved her. Rest in peace. If when she morphed, you ever notice that only the Pink Ranger had the skirt? Because in Japan, the Yellow Ranger was a dude, and they just took the scene with the same freaking Power Rangers, and then in the United States, it was a girl, but over there it wasn't. So the Yellow Ranger was actually a dude that they played. It was crazy when they
Yeah,
deep
that's
dive
crazy.
into it. You're like,
I did not know that though.
wait a minute.
And a fun fact
Vamos a estar
is,
claro que de los Power Rangers después de la de los carros,
no, after Tommy, I
came
stopped.
back, so he made it all good. Listen,
Nah,
I
no lo
watch
mismo.
to this day. I'll still
lo
watch
mismo.
Power Rangers. It's
Nah. After Rita stopped being that older lady, I
Rita
was done.
Repulsa, yeah.
She
but
was it. For
no,
me.
but that's a whole nother thing because live action back in the day, we don't get that no more either. When's the last time you seen a live action series like that was like Power Rangers, Beetleborgs? So many of them.
I mean, we see it now with Marvels.
You know
And
what
what Disney's
other-
doing with the Marvel shows.
You know what other show just came to mind? Street Sharks. Fire.
That
It's
was
awesome.
good.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Super fire.
Fun
so-
fact, I still got a Street Shark at the house.
Super fire.
That is, yeah.
I
That
completely
was
forgot
another
about
Clásico también. Eso para mí era como la contestación a Gargoyles.
Ustedes,
It was a
ustedes
very similar
veían-
concept.
Ya hemos hablado de algunos aquí, pero ¿ustedes veían más shows de Cartoon Network o de Nickelodeon?
The thing is,
Cartoon Network had the best midnight shows, and I think that
What were you doing up at midnight?
I'm just saying they did.
¿Qué estaba viendo
They
todas las
would,
12
at night they would play throwback episodes of ¿cómo se llama? I was just talking about it. Thundercats. They would play throwback episodes of. I'm trying to remember what other show they would play.
I don't remember, not from Nick at Night, because Nick at Night had fucking
Nickelodeon
George
had the-
Lopez. Stop
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
that.
yeah. But they had the good shows during the day. You know, like Rocket Power and shit like that.
Yo veía Cat Dog.
Cat Dog was
Cat Dog was
good, yeah.
great.
That was really good.
Y había
bueno.
otro.
No, I'm trying to pull up some
pero
real
era
quick,
bueno.
fellas.
Sí, era raro.
Sí, yeah. Okay, con
Dang.
eso, I think we're gonna sum it up with that.
Había
fellas, 'cause
otra.
Con esto podemos ir for hours.
Yes.
Había otro canal que se llamaba, creo que Jetix o algo así. Que después lo convirtieron a. Creo que
Boomerang,
esa.
right?
Ajá, no.
Oh, I know what you're talking
No,
about.
esa fue la que absorbió Disney.
No, he's talking about, so there was a cartoon, so he's a little younger than us, everybody, but...
No, no, pero
he's talking
recuerda
about-
que Fran veía, para ese tiempo estaba en Venezuela viendo.
Sí, pero eso el canal no era venezolano, pendejo.
Before we wrap it up, because I know for a fact we're going to do a part 2 of this video,
At
we
some
missed
point.
some heavy hitters, like me and Hyro remember this. You remember Tailspin?
Of course, I remember.
Tailspin, we forgot Wild Thornberries. There's so many, like, I just really pulled it up really quick. Hyro popped up with Street Sharks. I didn't remember this one, Goof Troop.
Goof Troop was
There's
fire, too.
so much. Toxic Crusaders. Oh my
Toxic
God.
Crusaders was fire.
It's
Captain Planet.
Esa sí la vi. esa sí
Captain
me
Planet, we
gustó.
forgot about
Fire.
Captain Planet, SWAT Cats.
SWAT Cats.
Brother.
So my homeboy was telling me about SWAT Cats.
SWAT Cats
I don't
fire.
remember it, but I saw the clip and I remember like
It popped up.
vaguely
You're like-
watching it, but not really like, oh my god, I gotta watch this show.
You remember Bonkers?
Bonkers.
When I seen the picture, it,
Let me
it
see the
hit me.
picture.
Hold on. Bonkers, the one in the middle with the cat. He was a cop, and he driving.
Oh yeah,
Yup.
yeah, yeah.
So
it was part of like the animated.
all that. That's what said the whole chain. So you guys expect video 2, 3, 4, and 20,000 because this is one of those subjects that
We can go for hours on this, hours.
for sure.
You know, just even discussing the feeling you get thinking about that.
this is.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna sum it up with that, fellas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This we call this. This is that throwback vibe.
¿Ustedes
So
se acuerdan
expect
de
these.
Invasor Sim? Sim.
We got to clip it because we're gonna keep going. But yeah, expect a lot of these throwback boys.
Sí.
That's it.
Bueno, mi gente, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, do so. Yeah. Oh, drop your favorites below. What you think? What were your
Sí, pongan ahí
nostalgic
lo que más les gustaron,
cartoons?
de cuáles deberíamos hablar, de cuáles no mencionamos.
Yeah. Tell us about the ones
Yes.
that we're missing more than anything.
Yes.
Throw a comment in there. Tell us which cartoons we missed back in the
Estoy
90s.
seguro de que
This
nos
we need,
faltaron muchos.
yeah,
Estoy
for
seguro.
You guys real think expect. I think we just created our own series, the throwback sessions.
I would say this best selections that y'all put down below. We'll use that for the next video.
And you guys don't forget to press play.
Press play.
Play.
Nos vemos.